Russia's ties with China are the best in history. This is what Russian President Vladimir Putin told his Chinese counterpart, adding that Moscow seeks to strengthen military cooperation with Beijing. The two leaders spoke via video link on Friday. Russian President Vladimir Putin also said that he was expecting Xi Jinping to make a state visit to Moscow next year. If such a state visit takes place, it would be a public show of solidarity by Beijing to its neighbor. In Russian president's own words, the visit would demonstrate to the world the closeness of Russian-Chinese relations. While the two Asian neighbors are getting closer than ever, their deepening ties are raising concerns across the Pacific. The United States says that it is concerned about China's alignment with Russia amid the war in Ukraine. The U.S. State Department said that it is closely monitoring Beijing's activity to see if the country provides any military or sanctions evasion assistance to Moscow. Russia's ties with the West has been marred by bitter Cold War rivalries during much of the later part of the past century. But the new century raised concerns for new Cold War, this time between Washington and Beijing. On the other hand, Russia and China remained at odds for much of the Cold War period over the leadership of the communist bloc. However, by the turn of the century, in the face of a common rivalry with the United States, the two Asian giants eventually started coming closer, with the war in Ukraine realigning world order. The Russia-China axis is slowly expanding into an arc, with more countries joining in. Iran comes as a case in point. Tehran has maintained good relations with Moscow and also Beijing for years now. Tehran's entry into the strategic arc is only logical given a common foe, that is United States. Both Iran and Russia are under heavy sanctions by the US, and China has been helping both of them to find their way around it. Meanwhile, China is also trying to extend the strategic arc on its own end, capitalizing on the growing differences between Saudi Arabia and the United States. China has launched an all-out effort to sway the West Asian nation. Xi's recent visit to Saudi Arabia lays testimony to this fact. With the Russia-China Gulf strategic arc on the hand and the West led by the US on the other, the fractures in global power equations are getting more conspicuous by the day. But what about the countries that lie in between? What about the middle powers? What about countries like India, Turkey, South Africa, Brazil, and so on? How will the relations between other countries of the world be affected? That remains to be seen.
2014年，我应现了我们的冬奥之约。相信我们今天的新春活力。习近平强调，当前全球新冠肺炎疫情中，就中俄关系。